Hello, welcome. My name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Leas. She's a poet, content writer, writing coach, and editor, and I'm extremely excited to be able to share our conversation with you today. Thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank you so much for asking me to join you today. I'm looking forward to our conversation, Bryce.
Before we start, is that a hammock?
Yes, it is. It is.
Wow.
So I have a hammock in my living room, and when I moved here, I had very little furniture, and I got this hammock, and I thought I'll set it up to see what it's like, and I just left it up in my living room. And then when I was building my business and trying to decide on a business name and an Instagram handle, I kind of looked over from my one writing table, and I'm like, the hammock writer, because I write in it, I read in it, I teach in it now. So yes, so I am in a hammock right now.
This is a weird question. So is there like a poles with a stand, or is it attached to the wall? Or
It has an actual stand. So it takes up a good portion. It's kind of like catty cornered in the corner. But yeah, my younger son, when he visits, he sleeps in it when he comes to visit me from where he lives. So yeah, it's
Interesting.
just become part of my being here. I love it.
It's unique, at least, yeah.
Yes, yes.
'Cause I saw in your picture when you were first coming on Zoom, and then now it's like, okay, cool, that makes sense. Then we can talk about how that boosts your creativity when you're in a different position. Interesting.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So can you talk about what life was like before you got into coaching, and what was really the catalyst that brings you to the field?
Sure. I was thinking about that question prior to us coming here today, and I've worked a series of jobs, all centering around some sort of writing or teaching. I've worked in a K through 12 school, and I've also worked in a university, as well as worked as an advertising copywriter way back in my career. So I've had these series of jobs, and I was not necessarily looking to make a leap into entrepreneurship, but I had some other life changes going on. And I had a conversation one day. My boss came into my office and he said, I'm trying to think about some changes. I know you're thinking about relocating. What do you think? How long do you think you're going to stay? And I literally just blurted out, you know what? I really want to leave. I want to go back to my freelance writing roots. And instead of him saying, okay, here's the door, he said to me, well, tell me what that looks like for you and what process that would take for you. And conversation took place in December of 2016. And I stayed in that position through August of 2017 when I left to start doing content writing and offering online creative writing workshops and coaching.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty unique that the person was able to help you out like that.
It was very nice. And I think it just kind of spoke to his business mind and want to support colleagues and employees in whatever their dreams and their goals were, even if it meant that they were going to be moving on from the position they were in.
Nice. So you have a lot of different experience, a lot of industries that you've written for. Who do you generally work with now, and what are they trying to solve in their life?
Right. So at the moment, I work a lot with writers who need help either jumpstarting their writing project or working through the messy middle or polishing their manuscripts, editing services before they send off their manuscript to a publisher. And I'm primarily a poet, but I do work with prose writers as well.
Nice. Do you have any examples of some poems that the people watching can go to look at of yours?
Sure. So I have a few on my website, which is thehammockwriter.com. And I believe the ones that are posted there are in my chat. I have a chapbook, I Know When to Keep Quiet, and a full-length collection called Take Something When You Go. And there's a poem called Reconciliation, and there's a poem called Ashes on there. And I've also been published in some online literary journals like The Pedestal and Cumberland River Review, Swim, which is SWWIM, and Southern Florida Poetry Review too.
Nice. That's a lot. That's really good. Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you talk about the time needed to master a craft?
Oh, I think it's a lifelong process, to be honest. I started writing when I was 10 years old, just little flash fiction, short fiction pieces. I used to personify things like skyscrapers and pencils. And then I did do some writing through high school, but in college, I really focused, my major was communication. So I was more focused on public relations and advertising work. And after college, started writing more poetry. So I've been writing and studying poetry really since my 20s. I went back to school in my mid 30s to get an MFA in poetry, which was a dream of mine, was to get a graduate degree in creative writing. And I'm still learning. And I think you learn as any kind of person, whatever your industry, but in particular with creatives, you continue to learn, you continue to hone your craft. So for me, I always tell myself and my clients, it's all about reading, writing, revising, and repeating, and just keep that cycle going. Like, if you want to be a reader, you better be out there. If you want to be a writer, you need to be out there reading a whole ton of things, all kinds of literature. And it just informs your craft. And so I'm still learning. You know, I look at poems that I wrote 5 years ago and I'm like, wow, I could have done better, but I am doing better now. And so it's just a lifelong growth process.
Can you talk about what separates a professional writer from a writer who's not that great? Like, what's the difference?
I do think it comes back to that, like how important is it for you to study what your industry is and to learn the craft of what you're doing. So I think a professional writer, whether you're writing in the professional realm in terms of journalism or advertising, marketing, or you're a creative writer, it's how are you staying up to date? How are you writing, if not every day, you know, a pretty consistent basis? So those, I think, are the people who, you know, get to their goals, the people who keep going. And I think it's tough to keep going. And I've struggled with it. I know, you know, all my writing friends, you sometimes struggle. So that's why when you can find a writing community, you can find a writing group, it helps you keep going. You know, it kind of gives you those artificial deadlines to keep moving forward.
Mm. You know, just kind of, so what's one of the greatest opportunities or things that you've come away with from this slowdown time period?
I think it's multifaceted. I think I've learned that I need to create my schedule so I am not working every single day. That time away from my electronic devices will not only make me a better business person, it will help me serve my clients better, but it will also fuel my creativity. So definitely putting a more structured schedule in place for me is definitely that. And also that, you know, it's time. You know, everyone, I can sit here and say I have these things, these responsibilities that I have to do, so I don't have time to write, but we can all find and make the time for the things that are most important and valuable to us.
Yes. So let me ask you this question. So because the reason why I'm asked is because I think our life is pretty similar. How do you structure your day as a writer when you have either to write a new piece or when you have a new project coming out?
Right. So for me, again, I don't have like this, I do the same thing every single day. When I was in graduate school, we would listen to mentors talk about how they would get up at 4 or 5 and write for 2 or 3 hours before they would go to their day job or before they would teach. And that just hasn't ever really been me. For me, it was like finding those pockets of time. When I was in graduate school, my sons were, I think, 13 and 15. So I found those times like sitting in the car while one of them was at soccer practice or waiting outside school for them to come out. So I've always been this writer where I kind of find these little pockets of time. So that's kind of when my own creative writing, I fit it in between my client work. And oftentimes it's at night. I do tend to be a nighttime person, even with my work. So I think that right now I tend to work more in the afternoon and in the evenings and use my morning time to, you know, do other things like run errands and get outside for a run or a walk or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know, just kind of switching gears, what does the vision look like for your life as far out into the future as you want to go?
So I want to create a business that my clients feel is a community, right? That they can kind of stay a part of, that they can stay connected to me and to one another. Because I do run writing groups, so some people do work together and get to know one another. And I want to be of service to those clients in whatever way they need to make their writing, you know, successful. So long term, I want to keep doing writing groups, working one-to-one with clients, still do teaching. I'm a teaching artist in a K through 12 school, also doing that because I'm a teacher at heart. I love teaching. So I want all of those things to be a part of my life, but I also want it to be very much location independent. You know, when we can go back out into this world, I would like to do some traveling and spend time in different parts of the world than where I currently live. I know that's not a reality, right? And in current time, not one that I expected would happen, but here we are. So, but I keep thinking about that as I think about what I want the rest of my career, the rest of my writing life to look like. I want it to be about community and connection and creativity.
Where's the first place thinking about traveling?
I have a list. I would love to spend more time in Ireland. I would love to go to Iceland, to Greece. I've been to the Middle East, but I've never been to India or China or the Asian country. So I would someday like to do that as well.
Nice. Do you speak another language as well, or?
Unfortunately, I do not. I wish that's one regret that I do have, that I didn't keep up with that after high school and college.
Yeah. Yeah, I have that unfortunate habit to where I can understand what it's saying, but I can't speak it, you know?
Oh.
Excellent. You know, what does success mean to you?
I think for me, what success is my clients feeling happy and fulfilled in their work. Um, Professionally, that's what success looks like for me. Being the best person I can be to show up to them, to show up for them, so that they can walk away with the knowledge and the tools that they can keep their writing moving forward. And personally, it's seeing my kids just kind of flourish in their adulthoods and realize the dreams that they have.
Mm. You know, are you working on anything new, like a course, a conference, a group opening, or?
It's so interesting you asked that, because I always have all of these ideas, and I think this time of being quarantined has made me go back to that and really think about that. I love offering groups, but I think in the short term, I really want to kind of focus on one-to-one work with people and coaching them through their writing if they're just starting out, or editing manuscripts. So in the short term, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. And then in the fall, I'll be opening a 12-week writing group, which I've offered before. I offer it 3 times a year, and that will be starting probably in September.
Cool. You know, where can people go to learn more about you? Where can they go to connect with you further?
Sure. So I mentioned my website. It's thehammockWriter.com. I do have a subscriber list. So if people are willing to share their email, they can stay in touch with me that way. If you sign up for my email list on my website, I will write a haiku for you and send it to you as a thank you. I'm also very active on Instagram with my business account, which is The Hammock Writer. And also I have an author page on Facebook, Dawn Leas, and I'm also on LinkedIn.
Nice. You know, thank you for your time and thank you for doing this today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you give this forum to business people to meet and connect. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. And, you know, for those watching, we hope that you thoroughly got some great value out of this. Now, if you've been searching for a place where people are improving themselves and helping others do the same, I recommend you go check out our free community. There's going to be some links either above or below this video. It's basically a mastermind where people come together and uplift and inspire each other every single day. So if that is what you have been searching for, go ahead and go on ahead and click the links either above or below the video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating this. Feel free to hit that share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1.